Welcome down here to my studio. My name is Terri Sproul and I want to show you how to layer stamps. A lot of people are intimidated by some of my cards because they think they're too hard to make. But once you learn the basics on how to layer stamps, you'll be able to do something like this too. This particular card I'm using 4 stamps, and all 4 stamps are from Viva Las Vegas Stamps, and that's at stampo.com. So let's go ahead and get started. The first stamp I'm going to show you how to layer is this reindeer stamp right here. So I got this really cool reindeer stamp, and it's just a basic stamp that doesn't have any detail or something to it. It's basically just an outline of the reindeer. So when you layer stamps, you got to think about color. And if you're wanting to layer, you want to go with the lightest color and work to the darkest color. So I'm going to ink this stamp up, and I'm going to use a light blue ink. Now I am pulling off a little piece of miracle tape to hold down my rubber stamps, and I do use just plain old rubber. I don't normally buy the ones that are cushioned, and that's just for a couple of reasons. One, and this is the biggest one, is to save some space. I also like to do it because I want to save some money. So I'm a big saver. So I'm going to ink up this stamp with the sky blue, and it's a lighter blue ink. It's not a real heavy blue ink. So I'm going to get a real good inking on here. And I show you guys this all the time. I turn my lids upside down when I'm using them. And that way, when I'm done inking this up, it's ready for me to take. So I'm just going to go ahead and stamp this image. Okay, so you see the reindeer there. Isn't he cute? So the next thing I'm going to use, and again, remember I was talking about going with darker inks. So here I have a real light blue. It's called a sky blue. And this one is called Starry Night, and it's a really dark blue ink. And the next stamp I want to use, and if you look on here, I have all these musical notes, this is a stamp from Viva Las Vegas Stamps, and it's called the Jingle Bell. And it's actually the song Jingle Bells. So I'm going to ink that up with this really dark blue ink. And I'm going to stamp right on top of my reindeer. Okay, so now you see that I have the reindeer in the background with the musical notes over it. The next thing I would do with this image is actually cut out the reindeer. Now, this is going to take a little while because it's a pretty big image, so you guys probably don't want to watch me cut, but you get the idea of what I'm doing. So I would just keep cutting it. And then my biggest trick on cutting out images is to make sure that you move your paper more than you move your scissors, and you'll get a really clear image out of it. So anyways, let's go back to making the card so you see more of an idea of what I'm doing. And I'm doing a really, really rough cut out on this image right here. So, and at home, making my card, I would spend a little more time making this a little more perfect. But you get the idea of what I'm doing. So we're cutting out, like I said, the image so that you have just the reindeer. Now, let's work on the background. You see the background here, again, I'm using lots of layers of inks and stamps. So, first thing I do is I love these makeup sponges. We all used these back in the 70s to put our makeup on. They're a little harder to find these days, but you still can find them at any of the, what I want to say, the drugstores that are around town. So, again, wanting to put some layers in the background here, I'm going to use 2 different color inks. I have a lighter green ink here, and I'm going to put some ink onto my makeup sponge here. And I like to work on a Teflon sheet on my background here. And you can get these Teflon sheets also at Viva Las Vegas Stamps. I work off of my piece of paper here, and I work towards the center. So you see how I'm moving my hand to get a lot of... Basically why I do this is I try to get a lot more darker ink on the edges with a lighter ink on the inside of the image here. And this is going to be my background. So I keep working my way around till I get it all inked up the way I like it. And if I want to go to, and again, I'm kind of rushing this for a couple reasons why I don't have a lot of time on YouTube. But then I sometimes will go with a darker green ink, and I just turn my makeup sponge over to the clean side, and I'll go in with a darker ink, almost the same color, and kind of work that in there too. See how I'm getting really nice depth and layers in that now? How cool that background's turning out just by getting some layers in there. So I would work and completely cover this so that it looks more like this when I'm done. Now, again, layering stamps and thinking out of the box. I have these great swirl stamps that are from Viva Las Vegas Stamps. I actually brought the whole plate, and a plate is where you get a 7x9 piece of rubber that has multiple images on it. And they actually have a plate that's all these swirls, and I just love them. So, I've got my background all inked up, and I'm going to use that sky blue ink again. That was the same ink that I used on the reindeer. And I'm going to ink up this swirl stamp. But I want you to look at the swirl stamp and see how big it is. You don't have to use the whole image. Think about that when you're using your stamps. You don't have to use the whole image. You can use parts of the image. And what I mean by that, and I'm going to show you here in a second, is I'm going to ink up the stamp, and this time when I stamp is I'm not going to use the whole image. I'm going to work off of it. Again, why I use my Teflon sheet. See, I'm only using part of it. See how I only got a little bit of that image even though it's a larger stamp? Again, ink up in between each of my, and again, just getting part of it. And I also twist the stamp so I'm using it in different ways, so I'm getting different parts of the image. See how cool that is already? So this is really simple to do this technique. Isn't that awesome already? Now, at the top of my stamp here, my image, I used this Merry Christmas. Again, this is from Viva Las Vegas Stamps. And I wanted to tie back into my reindeer. So I'm going to use that dark blue ink again that I used on the reindeer when I stamped the musical notes for my Merry Christmas. So again, I'm going to use my, I love to use miracle tape for my, to adhere my stamps down, because I use rubber only. And ink up my Merry Christmas with that dark blue ink to match my other one. And stamp, I'm going to stamp up here, so stamp that image. There's my Merry Christmas, isn't that cool? When I finish cutting out my reindeer, I just added a little bit of a ribbon to him, and I also put a tiny little dot of red on his nose because, you know, I'm a Rudolph fan. So I would cut out the rest of my image, put that on there. I'm going to glue him down just like that. And I added it to a base of a card, and I kind of did the same thing on the base of the card. I did a light blue inking just like I did around the edge here with, and I went the opposite. Since I used the blue here, I used the yellow on the swirl stamp and did that. So it gives a nice contrast. So I hope that helps you feel a little less intimidated about layering your stamps and thinking out of the box with them. I hope you enjoyed your time down here with me in my studio. I hope you join me at my blog at terrisproul.blogspot.com. Thanks!